Hey there, YouTube. We're jumping into some French news. Wanted to do a kind of an update on the French protest, and I saw this interesting video from it looks like a new kind of media operation called Popular Front. Not quite sure where they get their money or any of that, but this video was intriguing right away because, look, the subscriber count was, kind of low, 156K, 52K, 52K views. So it felt a little underground, thought we would show it here. Hopefully I don't have to do some censorship here, but I better get the censorship button ready. No, I have not seen their other vids. Should I be worried? Chem Goblin. I wanted to get my natural reaction here. And I also wanted to get an update on the French protest situation because it's really interesting that Macron went for it. He just did it. It doesn't seem like much, but it actually is a lot. 62 to 64. No, they did a few on Ukraine. Oh, okay. Well, they seem hip, they seem cool, they seem underground. If you've stuck around through the Canadian news, congratulations, because we're going to watch something rather exciting now. Man, these French folks know how to protest, huh? Or riot, as they would say on the conservative page. I saw them talking about, every time, BLM Antifa, they're the real terrorists, BLM Antifa. Really? Really? How many schools has Antifa shot up in the last year? You could find them interesting. Well, maybe I will.
Aujourd'hui, ce qui constate, c'est que Emmanuel Macron, par son mépris social, c'est lui qui a allumé le feu qui est dans les rues aujourd'hui.
Oh, sick! I didn't know that. What? No!
It's not just about defense and weapons.
Hell yeah!
We also are protesting for much more.
Rubber bullet is pretty painful.
Yeah. Hold on, I got the perfect video for this.
À la hauteur du service de l'État.
Hold on, I got the perfect video for this.
The violence of the people is in measure of the violence of the police.
I probably had to censor some of that anyway. That was sick. What a way to open up the damn thing. All right, just out of curiosity, because I just want to see, I just want to, I don't want to ruin their yum here, so just a lower volume.
The violence of the people is in measure of the violence of the police.
Interesting response. Interesting response. Hell yeah, dude. This is like the Matrix. Fuck, dude. Okay, you have my attention, Popular Front. All right, let's do it, baby. Loving it. Loving it.
So right now we're here in Paris. It's May Day. Thousands and thousands of protesters have come out onto the streets to demonstrate against the government. For months now there have been ongoing protests against Macron. It initially started with the pension reform, but now it's grown into something a lot bigger. Out on the streets now, there's young people, old people, people from various different unions, anti-fascist groups.
Oh,
everybody's
no, terrorists.
here really. And there's been a lot of fighting with police. So we've come here to find out what it is everybody wants now and see what's going to happen.
Yo, did you see that guy? Did you see that guy at the end there? Look at the guy to the right
Everybody
of him,
wants
right
now.
here. The guy in red. The guy in red. Look at his reaction. This is wild.
And see what's going to happen.
Busted, dude. Come on. Just put a mask on.
Premièrement, le
Oh,
retrait
he had his mask off to smoke a cigarette, and there was a camera. Oh, I see. Okay.
Et après, bien sûr, notre camp il est à l'offensive parce que vivre aujourd'hui c'est devenu dur. Le blocage des prix, c'est ça qu'on souhaite. L'augmentation du SMIC, c'est tout un ensemble qu'on lutte. Pour lequel on lutte pas
Policies.
seulement.
Look at that.
Things have been getting
Policies.
very violent from both protesters and the police. Do you think it's going to carry on that way?
Bien sûr, aujourd'hui ce qu'on constate c'est que Emmanuel Macron par son mépris social,
He really does.
c'est lui qui a allumé le feu qui est dans les rues aujourd'hui. Et nous, on a un message clair, c'est que face à sa violence, face à la violence de l'État, face à la violence policière, face à la violence de Macron, nous, on ne se laisserait pas faire et on se défendra.
Very articulate. He knew
The
why
current
he knew why
protests
he
in
was there.
France are the biggest in decades, with up to 1 million people gathering across the country. Things
Boy,
kicked
bruv.
off in January when President Macron increased France's pension age by 2
I
years.
swear to God, is this guy gonna start busting into like a drill rap? What the fuck is this? Is the effects on his microphone and everything, dude? I feel like he's gonna bust into a freestyle any second.
And cancelled retirement benefits for many
Boy, bruv.
different sectors, including rail workers, farmers, and electricians. Macron used his constitutional power to bypass parliament and push through the reform without a vote. This caused outrage, the straw that broke the camel's back. After years of discontent with Macron and the leading opposition party being far right, people took to the streets to protest.
Man, where's the
The
progressive
police
party?
crackdown was swift and aggressive.
Oh, that's right. Better. Yeah, can't show this. Oh man, they're stepping on people's heads.
Protesters, the majority of
Beating
which
them
were
with
peaceful
sticks.
at the start, have
Beating
been
them
kicked,
mercilessly with
punched,
sticks.
tear-gassed, beaten, and shot with rubber bullets.
Mercilessly pounding on them in the head with wooden sticks.
During this year's anti-Macron protests, dozens of people have been
Stepping on their
seriously injured
ankles.
by police.
Stepping on their
One
ankles.
protester
Full
had
weight
his
of their
hand blown
legs
off
on
by a
their
plastic
ankles.
grenade. 2 protesters were put into a coma, and a bystander lost a testicle after being clubbed in the groin.
Jesus.
As a result, many
Jesus.
see violence
Look, I can't show you any of this. I cannot show you any of this. These cops, these cops are beating them like torture like they're in a torture situation. I mean, this is nuts. This is nuts. If you want to see it, starts at minute 3. If you want to see this footage that I'm looking at, but I cannot show this on Twitch. I'm sorry.
against the police is fair
I
game.
mean, and they're walking around like thugs. They're walking around like fucking thugs with these fucking batons, dude.
It's one side versus the other.
Okay, I need to show you that one. Okay, that one I can show you, and that one actually really shows quite a lot here. So watch this. This is the attitude, and we see this in the United States as well. But I must say, the cops in the United States, they usually don't let themselves flip out quite like this.
Violence against the police.
I don't know if all cops are bastards. I would really prefer all cops need to be reformed. I know it's not as catchy, but I don't know. I feel like the all cops are bastards is forgetting the human element, and it's also forgetting the hierarchy element, the fact that these attitudes are disseminated from up high. But watch this. Watch this.
Police is fair game. It's one side versus the other.
Watch. Look at this. He's got to be restrained by his own guy. He's just on a complete power trip. Look at that.
Protesters are still mostly peaceful, though.
Can't show
but
this.
many
People are getting beat with sticks. I wish I could show you this. I
have
cannot.
become increasingly more violent as the
Welcome back, Woke Patriot, by the way.
police crackdown continues.
Yep, getting beat with sticks. Can't show it to you. Can't show it to you. Yep. Slam in the head. They're aiming for the head with a wooden stick, with a wooden baton. Okay, I can probably jump in now. With a wooden baton. They're slamming him in the head, dude. Direct wounds. Unbelievable.
So, can you tell me why you've come here to protest today?
Mainly, we're fighting against social injustice.
Yeah, woke patriot.
So it's really not just about retirement.
Have you been involved in the clashes with the police? The police have been doing a lot. It looks quite violent.
Honestly, what we do is self-defense. So
I mean, come on. I'm going to be calling out the protests in this one as well. Come on, man. Self-defense. I mean, that it's an interesting take, right? Because they're not just responding to violence in the streets; they're responding to the violence from the state. And is anyone okay? And as would the cops be as violent if all of these guys were not breaking shit? Would the French police be just as brutal? Yeah, I don't know, but does it help the movement to take honest responsibility and inject nuance into something, right? Because that'll be weaponized against the movement as well, the lefty movement, right? If you try to inject nuance, be like, well, it's wrong and we're doing it, and it's a response to this violence, but we know it's wrong, right? That hemming and hawing can really just be weaponized by the opposition to turn you into, like, see, they're wishy-washy. They don't even believe in what they say. There are good cops. The other thing is that for me, all cops are somehow bad. I mean, it's, like I said, I think ACAB is missing some of the elements to the issue. As a response to, just as an angry response, I understand it though. Cops have not earned respect. Cops worldwide, really, but I think it depends on the state. Depends on the society, right? How the cops treat the people. I think it's fair to say the cops in the United States and the cops in France here are not very much respected by the population.
And when the police attack the protest, we have the means to defend ourselves. The violence of the people is in measure of the violence of the police.
But the cop fuckers would say that, they wouldn't get violent with you if you didn't burn shit, right? So it becomes a he said, she said. Okay, who started it first? Childish back and forth, right? So we're not really having a discussion about the crimes of the state. Now we're having a discussion about who's right and who's wrong. About who hit who first, right? And what happens, if you're an adult, hey, woke patriot, what happens when you're in a he hit me first, she hit me situation? What do you say to those two kids, in a he hit me first situation? Hitting is wrong, both of you. Hitting is wrong, right? You ignore who hit who first almost all the time, right? Unless you got an instigator. Right, but you don't really dwell on who hit who first, and you just reinforce that the violence itself is wrong, right? So the violence from the state, it's okay to criticize the violence from the state, even if they do say it's a response to the violence in the streets. You don't right a wrong with another wrong, right? These are like basic moral lessons that we've learned from like Dr. Seuss, or not, her Mother Goose, right? But it's funny when you get into politics, all these rules go out the window. All these things we learned as a child about what is right and what is wrong. It all goes out the window, right? You say he's wrong. You never hit a girl, even if she's sawing you with a chainsaw. Welcome back, Equaldari.
Come a step up since the Gilets jaunes and the Loi Travail. They've been.
Woke patriot, I think you're right about police. Yeah.
Very strongly.
A lot of people don't want to admit it.
So we answer to that mainly, and we believe in social insurrection also. Honestly, that being said, we know violence is not always the solution, or there's different ways. There's times for everything. We did the pacific protest for 2 months. We tried. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. So we trusted the syndicates, even though we know inside we can't trust them anymore. And now we're out of the solution.
A lot of people outside of France.
I mean, I get what you're saying. It's not like I disagree when it comes to parenting there, woke patriot. I see what you're saying. It's not exactly like I disagree, but also it's like, all right. I guess you disagree with my point, and so it is important. It is important who lights the car first. So the entire movement, the entire debate should be bogged down by this he said, she said about who lit a car and who smashed a window first, and then everything is justified afterwards. Is that really important that we need to unravel that, to the point of origin, and then we can have an opinion on it, right? Also, don't argue parenting styles. You parent the way you parent. It's not my business. No, but there's nothing wrong with. I disagree with that point of view, man. Like, how are we going to get better as parents if we're not talking about it, right? I hate. Parents are like really like, oh, don't you judge me? Don't you judge me? I'm not wrong. Little Billy's perfect. Holy shit! Like, it's like people with their dogs. You know what I mean? I don't know if a spike collar in the neck is a great idea. Don't you judge me, you son of a bitch! I can torture my dog if I want. Hey, fuck, okay, man. Don't you judge my dog parenting style. Have an opinion about how to raise your kids, another thing. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know. I think it's interesting. You really going to sit there and hash it out who hit who first? I mean, like I said, if it's a reoccurring thing, then yes. It's like, well, okay, Billy's over here hitting everybody. But it's like, oh, I want the block. Oh, he hit. It's like, okay, whatever. Sit down. All right, I guess whatever. My point was destroyed here. All right, I'm wrong.
Oh, the French are protesting again, like it's just like a minor thing. Obviously, we've been here. It's not like that. It seems a lot different. It seems bigger.
I can tell you from experience, spanking doesn't work.
It's a compliment.
I lived it. It doesn't work.
French people, we have that in our veins to fight for our rights. So that's what we do always. Like I said, it's healthy for us to have this rapport with the government.
I agree,
and
Lenny.
Even though
I agree.
lots of the fights we have, we lose. It's a little David against Goliath. It always has. But for us, it's a compliment. It's easy to say. The French always complain. Yeah, we complain, but we fight for health, for education,
that's how you get
for social fairness.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease in politics. I'm utterly convinced of that. The people that say we should have, be quiet and follow the rules, they're wrong. I'm more convinced than ever that I'm wrong. And the more people, especially the elderly people that are plugged in, that understand, being quiet that just makes it easier to ignore you. So there's absolutely nothing wrong about being a squeaky wheel and complaining, being a Ramoner. Oh no, I'm Ramoning about the state of the economy. Yeah, you fuck the economy. I'm not allowed to moan about it. Oh, you're gonna take my pain away. I can't even complain about it. Really? You bastards, you're gonna take everything from me, even my right to complain about the fucking shit you're doing to me. Yeah, if it was up to them, yes.
And what is it you want from these protests?
Well, the first thing would be that this reform would be gone. That they would stop with this reform.
Yeah.
The second thing would be
retirement
that the
age should be 50.
At least, gets in consideration the people and the needs of the people and what we're asking for, and we've been asking for a long time now. And
Thank you, Woke
keep
Patriot.
the social services that we have and keep fighting for what we already have that they're trying to take down every year, all the time.
You think we'll get violent today?
1st of May, often it gets violent. It depends a lot on the police, on the attitude of the police.
Soon after the
look at these
protest march
guys.
started, the police moved in to stop it.
All right. Yes. Damn, dude. Oh, who's their editor? Who's their editor? Holy shit. Who's their editor? Who is their editor, dude? Yes. This is my kind of news, man.
Protesters are moving up a few blocks, building barricades or whatever they can find, and then the police are obviously pushing forward, but it's just cat and mouse, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, they've made wearing gas masks illegal, and I've seen video of French police, tear gassing and then running up to someone and ripping their mask off. Yep, here's the charge, the kettling techniques, the flashbangs, the noise grenades, the rubber bullets, the kettling, charging. These tactics can be subverted easily with a little bit of organization. With a little bit of organization, these tactics can be easily subverted. They're not perfect tactics.
The police just snatched one of the protesters.
No.
These are the special unit police, the Brav M.
You go after the more vocal
Massively
protesters, the ones who seem like the leaders.
Most these protests have been ongoing. People really fucking hate them.
Yeah, you go after the leaders, the people perceived as leaders. I can tell you. Yes! Yes! I left because I was bored in Canada. I was bored from the Canadian news, so I left. still bored?
particulier. On devrait être comptabilisé à la hauteur du service de l'État.
Oh shit!
So unfortunately, I just got hit with some kind of, I don't know, like rubber bullet. It's pretty painful.
Wow. This shit's intense, man. Fox News would be, 24/7 broadcasting America under siege if this shit was happening. Antifa on the loose. Try to take your babies. I mean, they would just be going all out if this kind of activity was happening. It's so funny, all those people that left in the Canadian news. I think that's so hilarious. You're lame. If you left during the Canadian news, you're lame.
First, it's an important day because after months and months of protest, of clashes with the government and its police, May Day had a huge importance for us. Like, we really need to have as many people as we can in the streets. It's a show of force, basically.
There is a worry. I've heard people saying that, okay, well, obviously Macron, you guys don't like him, but then the other is Le Pen. She's far right or whatever their party is. Is that something you worry about?
Yeah, kind of, but on the other hand, like Macron and his government has put up like many laws that Le Pen wanted to pass. They did them by themselves. So I don't think they are like stopping the far right. I think they are leading them to power.
Yes, exactly.
So I don't think like we have to choose between one or the other.
Sometimes it's reported as if the people that are clashing, fighting with the cops, people like yourselves, it's like, oh, they're just the troublemakers. But from what we've seen, there are thousands of people out here today. There seems to be a lot of support. Would you say that the majority of people that you come across are like, in favor of these protests?
I think so, yeah. That's what like a lot of polls said. This movement still has a lot of support, and it's crazy to see so many people in the streets after months and months of movement. And even so, there is like still a minority that take active part in clashes. A lot of people back them and still are supportive by any means necessary. They want this movement to win. So it's goes together. Some people come here peacefully, others are more ready for like a defensive position, and that's all right.
We've seen the police with very, very, very heavy tactics. Obviously, it's one side versus the other. Of course, they're getting hit with bricks, they're fighting people, but it's very violent out there. Is that not something you guys worry about? Because the police are dressed up like RoboCop and you're like this, you're not worried?
It's worse and worse. Since the Gilets jaunes and even before, the police has become more and more violent with military-type weapons, using tear gas, flash rubber bullets, and so on.
Yeah, and military-style crowd control tactics.
So yeah, nowadays a lot of people are really terrified to go to protest.
Yeah,
so
and that's the point. That's the point, right? If protesting were continuing, we saw this in Occupy. If protesting continues, the violence escalates. Fear tactics start being used. Intimidation tactics start being used. Pain tactics start being used, right? I mean, they'll go as far, at Waco, we saw them, blasting, Metallica or whatever the hell that, music that was really inappropriate 24/7, right? Trying to keep the kids up, trying to torture kids. It is fair to say that the Branch Davidians were also using kids, they were hiding behind children. So, it's a complicated situation there in Waco, but.
We could be even more without that. I have to admit that the repression is kind of working in this way, but on the other hand, you can see around there are still so many people that are ready to face this violence. So that's a good thing, and we're not this afraid about this police.
This guy's plugged in, man.
And its methods.
Is this still about pension reform?
Oh no, it got broader. To be fair, it's not just about the pension reforms nowadays. We also are protesting for much more.
Like what?
Like another kind of society against its government, against its police, basically like to overthrow this government in one way or another.
Yeah, okay, overthrow and replace it with what? Come on, man. Is it really enough to just fuck shit up and demand people to step down? I mean, is there an obligation by the activist to have that answer ready? Okay, you're just going to break it down. What are you going to replace it with? Does the activist have that obligation? I believe so. Right? What are you fighting for? Right? Besides the disassembly of your oppression. Right? Some would say, though, that, you know, for the slave, their only desire is to remove their chains. And it, you know, the figuring out what to do afterwards comes after the chains are removed. I don't know if that's the case here, though, with this, right? It is oppression. You know, it is oppression, repression, you know, fill in the blank, right? It's people are being held back by the rich and powerful. Is it slavery, right? Or, you know, is it too much to ask for the people that are rightfully angry and fighting back in the streets? Is it too much to ask for them to have a set of proposals, a leader, a politics, an ism, or something, right? To be like, no, okay, we want to replace Macron with this. You know, is that necessary? I think it is. I mean, people need to know what they're fighting for. That's how you get a sustained fight.
Do you think that's going to happen, really?
I don't think it will happen this time, but you know, it's still a good period for that. We're building something. We're building our.
Sounds like a motherfucking communist to me, huh? Sounds like a fucking communist. I don't know. Revolution. I don't know. Anarchist, either an anarchist or a communist, right? What you got, man? You're not winning this argument with this, you know, burn it all down and figure it out later. It's not flying. At least not for me. Bullshit meter flies through the roof when I hear this hemming and hawing. We're building our networks, we're getting more and more people. Okay, what? Huh? To do what? Replace who with whom? What's the manifesto? A bunch of nebulous bullshit. Okay. A bunch of Marxism. All right.
It's still a good period for that. We're building something. We're building our networks. We're gathering more and more people. A lot of people, it's their first time they're protesting, so that's a good thing.
No.
They're learning a lot.
And look, and groups like this are important that are just like, you know, nakedly grabbing people and like saying, get involved here. It's easy. Join us, right? Okay, yeah. Get the ball rolling. But eventually the left does need a response to, okay, you're going to create a power vacuum. What are you filling that vacuum with, homeboy? Right? Am I crazy? I got fucking, you know, I guess I'm literally putting people to sleep today. Maybe I'll just stop. Maybe I'll stop streaming and actually do something useful my day today, actually. Yeah, so I don't know. Whatever. People don't give a shit.
You know, sharing information, ideas, and so we're getting bigger.
Some people are saying, "Oh, you guys are just vandals."
I get it. You're doing laundry or something. I get it.
Say to that?
Of course, I will say that, but what can we do?
Okay, so I want to hear what this question says. What this guy was saying here.
We're getting bigger.
Some people are saying, "Oh, you guys are just vandals. You're just tearing the place apart for no reason." What would you say to that?
Of course, I will say that, but what can we do? You know, there will be always people like saying crazy shit about that. The government itself during the Yellow Jacket said we were paid by Russia or whatever. You know, we don't really care about that anymore.
Yeah. Obviously,
yeah, no, and you can't be concerning yourself with, you know, everything the opposition is saying, but you do have to concern yourself with optics.
French are known for protesting. People say, "Oh, the French are protesting over everything." Do you think this is different, or is it just more of the same?
Oh yeah, I think it's different because the movement is both huge and really offensive in some way, you know, in a positive way. So I think we went like one step further from movements that happened before. That's very interesting. We have like the best part of the old unions movement and of the Yellow Jackets, with also people coming from like ecological movements and so on, all coming together And that's very positive. It's kind of a truth, you know, everybody agrees to fight the same struggle. On the other hand, we have to also to agree to disagree. There are various kinds of protest and also various ideological outlooks, let's say. Sometimes clashes happen between trade unions and autonomous groups. And there is nothing we can do really to prevent that. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, well, that's politics. Yeah.
Happening this day.
What is it that you guys are so angry at Macron about specifically, if you could sum it up?
Specifically, I would say like his authoritarian policy. It's the fact that he doesn't care about the parliament, about anything, about even laws that have been passed before, about any kind of opposition. At the very end, you have to still struggle. So of course we pushed, you know, to other means of protest. Let's say protests are becoming more and more violent, also because we don't have other choices. You know, he doesn't care about what we could say, about what even like parliament members would pass. So as he's just like using whatever he can to achieve his goals, we have to do the same.
Yeah, okay. I mean, they're really great at fucking shit up, and I'm actually quite surprised that that the only opposition party is a right-wing opposition party. Really? You got all this activity, all this organizing. You don't have a candidate? You can't find one French guy to, you know, put your label on and represent your, you know, your struggle. I find that shocking. Gata Naranja, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. It's very quiet in the chat. No one seems to be participating. I think I'm putting them to sleep. I'm actually considering doing one more segment and then shutting down the stream and cleaning my garage. So maybe not the best stream to come to.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck, man.
Thank you, Lenny. Appreciate it. Lenny is, of course, the #1 financial contributor to the stream. Oh, can't show that.
Really weird scene here. You got people just sitting here having a pint, having some food. A lad there has just been smashed in the face with a police projectile. He's bleeding pretty bad. There were protest medics helping him out. And then lads over here that have just built a barricade, all in the same
Hot take Andy. Oh, boy. There's no way in hell you're not toxic.
scene. Very French.
Protests in
You
Paris.
don't know what to say. You don't have an opinion on democracy, liberty, protesting, police violence. None of it, huh? Okay. Do the protesters have a spokesperson? Doesn't really seem like it. Doesn't really seem that they have a party that is representing them in any way, which is really incredibly disappointing.
Both peaceful and violent, continued throughout the
Folks, make sure you check out Accidents Waiting to Happen on YouTube. Lenny is a wonderful YouTube creator. Make sure you check out his content. When it started, but I have no idea what they're talking about. I see. Okay, well, we're moving on to the next segment in a minute here. So.
day.
Yeah, so there you go. That's your French update. Thank you so much, YouTube. Have a good day.